here we go. How do you spell your last name?
R-O-V-E-R.
Okay, Rover. Okay, let me come this side.
What's your last name again?
I'm Roth, R-O-T-H. Hey, we're right there next to each other in the alphabet. I would be right behind you in
That's
school.
interesting.
See you, thank you. Hal Rover. Get closer. Okay.
Get close.
Okay.
How many of these have you done? Because I used to do these.
I know you did. I want to talk to you about it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I forget.
25 now? Yeah, I want to hear all about it. Give me some tips when we're finished. You give me some, critique me. Okay, Hal, what is your full name?
Hal Rover.
And Rover is,
Norwegian.
where are your ancestors from?
Norwegian. Norway.
Norwegian. Oh.
Yeah.
Both of them?
Yeah, there's a Rover's Island off the coast.
Oh.
It's called R-O-V-A-E-R. Rover's Island, never been there.
Oh.
But there's books and stuff like that and I saw a picture of the people on the island.
Mm-hmm.
We all look alike.
Good looking.
Well, kind of weird though.
That is funny.
to see
Yeah.
people.
Do I have permission to record this interview?
There, go ahead.
I hope so. Where were you born?
San Diego, California.
So they came here early on then. Now how did your parents come from Norway to San Diego?
They first landed in North Dakota,
Okay.
moved to Montana, decided it was too cold. What are we doing here? I think. And they said, we have an opportunity, the family had an opportunity to move to San Diego, which they did.
Mm-hmm.
My dad joined them. He was the second generation. And he went to San Diego High School.
Really?
And finished there and went to Berkeley. So, yeah, we kind of didn't have you get into Montana and it's icy cold.
Mm-hmm.
Way up near the northwest.
So were you born in San Diego?
I was.
And what high school did you graduate?
St. Augustine High School, Catholic high school, and it's 100th year this year.
How did you get here to the desert?
I got a job offer down here. I was in the retail after I graduated from San Diego State, or University of San Diego. And got into retail, which I'd been on, kind of liked it, but then I got fired from Montgomery Wards, which is a blessing.
Yeah.
And I was looking around, I ran across a friend, George Cunningham, who was from here. Dad was police chief in Indio, and he said, I work for a company called U.S. Gypsum. Why don't you apply at my company? And I said, all right. What do they do?
Yeah.
And they have gypsum plants, which is plaster, lath and plaster, and lots of other products, about 100 other products. Great company to be with, based in Chicago, Illinois. And he said, go talk to my company, I'll get you an interview. And he did, and I got hired. And my first...
Where was your interview, in Chicago or here?
No, it was in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
And they had a branch office. Moved, liked the company, said, geez, are you guys gonna hire me or not? I finally said,
So they didn't get back to you that quick?
no, they didn't. And
Yeah.
I went to LA. I got in the car and drove to LA where the manager was.
To find out
And he
what's
said,
going on.
who told you to come? And he said, I got tired of waiting for my phone to ring. And I guess he liked it because he hired me. Not that day, but that was kind of pushy. But I needed a job. I had 2 kids. And
Of course.
so they said, okay, after about 6 months, that was 65, we came here.
Mm-hmm.
About October, they kept me around in 64.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, we're gonna move you to Palm Desert, the Imperial Valley and all that. And do you know where that is? I said, no. And then after 3 years, they said, we want you in San Diego. This is the abbreviated version. I said, you want us to go to San Diego, huh?
You were already here.
Yep.
Yeah.
After 3 years.
Right.
He said, we'll need you in San Diego, which covers Imperial Valley and Yuma and Southern.
Yeah.
I said, do I have to go there?
Yeah.
I loved it here. That was 65. So in 68, yeah, we moved here in 65, April 1st, and here we are to this day.
So when they said you want to go back to San Diego, you said, no, no I don't.
They said nobody's ever wanted to stay in the desert before, and I said, well, I do.
Oh, really?
This town was listed on the signs as 5,000. 4,925 or something. And my wife said, we took it over 5,000 or something like that.
That's cute.
She was a desert girl too, from Angela McNeese Rover from Imperial Valley.
Oh, so she's from Imperial Valley?
Yeah, but she didn't want to live here.
Yeah.
She'd been through the desert.
Right.
So I said, well, let's give it a try, and we never left.
Yeah.
It's a lot of years later, 58 years later.
I think you made a good choice. Solid choice.
We still like it. Yeah, growing place, up and coming. I like the desert. It was way out there.
So what was it like? What was it like when you first moved here? What were you expecting, and how did it turn out, really? You know.
Well,
at that time.
I loved it because you know what? We couldn't. The minute we found out we were going to stay here, they said, "Okay, well, you can stay." They said nobody ever wanted to stay there. So I said, well, I do, we do.
Yeah.
So we went looking for a house.
Oh, then
you know, and I covered Indio,
right,
Yucca Valley, Imperial, where the Marine base is, and all that, all the way to Yuma.
You looked all around.
We couldn't find a house to buy.
Because?
Because there weren't any for sale.
I see.
And so I said, I was looking around, and we still have the house. You got the address on Quillbrush, right behind George Washington Charter School. And they said, I called, what's her name, Jackson. She was a realtor here, and we dealt to, hey, I called her up, said, hey, I found this house.
Oh, so you found it?
I found it, and I called her the very minute I found it. They said, find out about this house for me. And she did, and we bought it.
Really?
And we're still in that house.
Wow.
68, 2025.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So,
yeah, we kind of, we don't move often.
I see. Well, you don't have to.
No, it's a great place to be. And
yeah, you told me it didn't have, I remember this a little bit from before, it didn't have a pool at first, right? Is that?
That's right.
Yeah.
So, you know, we can build a pool. We're in the building business kind of.
Right.
You know, selling gypsum and wallboard and plaster and hundreds of products USG had.
Really?
United States Gypsum Company.
So were the products stored in Chicago, or where were they?
They have plants. You ever hear of Plaster City?
Yeah.
Well, that's one of their gypsum plants. They make a lot of wallboard and plaster products, and they're still there. And they have, I'll bet they have 100 plants altogether in the United States.
They're still there.
Yeah. Oh, they're still there, but they're all over the country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're based in Chicago, Illinois. So I liked them, and they were good, and it worked out fine. And finally, one of my customers, EF Brady Company from La Mesa, said, we'd like you to go work for us. What do you want me to do? An estimator, work on plans all day, sell plaster and drywall in houses.
Yeah.
So I said, it's a good idea. You know, you're a great company. Great EF Brady. What a man he was in La Mesa.
Tell me more about him.
Well, he started this plaster company, and he was an honest man. People loved him. He was always upbeat. He had 3 boys, and they had a place in La Mesa. They had their main business in La Mesa, California.
That's down near San Diego, right?
Yeah, just east of San Diego. So they came down. They were asked to come down here.
Yeah.
And I eventually got hired by them after about 5 years, 5 years with EF Brady with U.S. Gypsum. And I loved it with them, but then they decided to pull out of the desert. They came down here to do the big track down here on what do they call it? City.
Sun City?
Yeah, Sun City.
Oh.
not Sun City, but it's, what do they call it? Anyway, they built a couple thousand houses, and Brady was the front contractor on that. And so I said, okay. Well, they decided shortly thereafter, they got good offers to build commercial high-rises, like in Orange County. They said, Hal, we're moving out of here.
Really?
Do you want to go with us? And I said, I don't want to go with you, which was, it would be a big city job, and
Right.
I didn't want that. I loved it here. In
It was
3
kind of
years.
scary when you decided just
Yeah,
keep going,
with
and
3
then when
kids,
you,
and yeah, it was.
did you,
I went into business for myself.
oh, you did?
Insulation, acoustical, like this suspended ceilings and insulation for fiberglass. And I started that in 65 or not 65, but actually 73. I got my license. And,
What kind of license is that?
It's insulation and acoustical. So you do suspended ceilings and all this fiberglass. And I thought it was perfect. Nancy liked it here. She grew to like it and had a lot of good friends because it was
Yeah.
small town stuff.
I know, yeah.
So stayed in that, and eventually built my building out there on Joni Drive. A building,
Okay.
still have it now. We built that in 90.
Mhm.
So we bought property on Joni Drive. So we found a home and liked it, never left. We still have a home in La Mesa that I grew up,
Oh, is that right?
and we keep it, and I don't have any more siblings living. I had 2 brothers, Mike and John Rover, and they both died. So, but we got a family here, and I thought, well, our son Mike, third son, our third sibling, he said he married a girl named Dodie, and they said, well, we're gonna live there. I said, you're gonna live here? He went to the Loyola Marymount, then he went to law school there. And
Oh, that's a good law school.
Yep. He went to work for us first, and then he went to law school. And we didn't know where they were going to live. Dodie worked for a big company, a food company, which I can't remember now. But they sent her to New York and all over the place.
For training? And...
Yeah, for training and for her first job. Her first job was 3,000 miles from her betrothed husband.
That must have been tough.
Mike is now an attorney.
Where does he practice?
He works for Acrisure now, the company that owns they don't
Oh.
own that. They own all that property over
Yeah.
there. He went to work for them.
So he's local?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they never left. He was born here in 65 when we got here, and he's never outside of going to law school.
Great.
So he went to University of San Diego, met Dodie, and went to law school at Loyola University. So our other kid, one of the kids, is a teacher in Los Angeles area. She's about ready to retire, believe it or not. And then our son Vin lives up north. And so we have 14 grandchildren. So we never could leave.
How can you keep track of the birthdays? I'm wondering. I know your wife does that.
You're right about that. And she's good at it. And they call her all the time.
Oh, they do?
Oh, they do. Because she keeps track of the details. And they call, and we get together a lot. Mike lives about a mile from us in PD, Palm Desert. And he loves it here as much as we do. But Leslie lives in LA, and Vinny lives up north in the Bay Area. Vin, our elderly child. And he's the one with 9 kids. And Mike has 4. And then we have a grandchild from the Bay Area. Yes, can you believe it?
Well, what about air conditioning? I thought there was some kind of connection with you in the air conditioning business. Did I?
No, never was. Just insulation. It kind of goes together.
I see.
You know, they came across with the national interest in saving energy.
Yeah.
In about the 60s. in the 70s, and it really got hot. Really, they started working on it with a lot of laws, and
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So, said, that worked out well. I mean, there wasn't another insulation contractor only in this valley. We were the only ones that did just insulation. And,
Did you go on site and look at it?
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
always. Yeah, I loved it out I said, I loved it out here.
So you would get a lead or what, and then you'd go to that point and see what you could, how you
And we
could-
built up a bunch of contractors, and they liked us, we liked them, and it's amazing. It's like falling into it.
Can you mention one that that's apparent to the public, like one of the malls or some one of the?
Well, one of the one I mentioned is the one that hired me in La Mesa. They had a E.F. Brady. Very good, honest, hardworking, smart. None of those kids went to college. None of his boys. They went to work, and this is when you went to college.
Yeah.
But he was. They knew their dad made a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah, their company did very well, and they knew how to make money, and it was very fun working for them. They were always state-of-the-art people who were honest as can be, and we liked them. And they were from La Mesa, which is
Oh, is it?
my hometown.
Well, when you say state of the art, you mean they knew the latest things? Is that what you mean?
They were they were leaders in their industry.
Yeah, yeah.
And when they moved out of here, they had a big market in San Diego. But when they moved out of here to build another branch in Orange County, that was a real move for them. They were La Mesa people who loved it there, and just like we loved the desert.
Yeah.
But we parted, in '73 we parted. And I used to go see them there because they're not too far from our house in La Mesa. Anyway, lots of good things come together with contractors. You meet some wonderful people, and the guys who are crooks moved on.
Yeah. Find out after a while.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a great place to start a family. The kids all loved it here. They did. They just, they didn't know it was hot. What do you mean hot? It's not hot. Hot. But
Well, now where did they graduate high school?
Indio High School.
Oh, Indio.
All three of them. There was no Palm Desert or anything then.
Okay. Now, how did they get to school? How would they get to school from your house?
They'd send a bus up to Palm Desert. I don't remember all about that, except they'd get rides. Vinny was student body president. Leslie
Really?
was student body president. They had friends who picked them up in the morning and took them to school. And they didn't have their own cars. That we didn't ever have our own cars, so why would they need a car? Drive ours. So anyway,
Okay, so
they loved it here as much as we did.
What would they do? Like, give me an example. Like on the weekends when there wasn't school, and I assume you may or may not have been working on the weekends. Well, where would you go? What would you do on the weekends?
You know what? We always had La Mesa. My parents lived until '88. And we were here in '65, so we went back to see my parents a lot. And Angie's parents at that time lived in La Jolla, and lots of family on the West Coast. So we would go up and see old friends that Angie went to school with. She went to Immaculate Heart College in Los Angeles.
Oh.
Graduated there, and we were on the road over that mountain a lot.
Yeah.
You drive over
Oh,
sometimes.
74?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear about this. Now, how was the road different then, than it is? It's not that easy now. I mean, how did that happen? How did that work? You just come over it.
It's got a bad rep.
Yeah.
I think. The roads, we always used to go through to Temecula and go that way. Now I never go that way anymore. If I go to San Diego, I go through Warner Springs and through.
So you go over, and then you go left.
We go up right here, and we go down to
Aguanga?
Aguanga. Good for you. And at that point, we don't go to the right to Temecula. We
go
go to the
left.
left and we go through. I love that backcountry. Warner Springs.
Yeah.
You go around Palomar Mountain. That's where I wanted to die when I was young. I loved it. My dad grew Christmas trees up there when I was a little tyke. And we go up there almost every weekend, and he would work his tail off. He was a dentist, but he
Your dad was a dentist?
He came from the University of Montana, and he got out of there when he said, no, I don't want to be a forest ranger. I want to be a dentist. So he went to San Diego High. He went to Berkeley. And
You mentioned
dental
that.
school. And he was a GP dentist in San Diego for many years. So that's how we got hooked up down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you go, to Warner Springs, you go around and then to La Mesa or that way, right?
Yeah.
Is that Apple Pan?
No, you go through Ramona.
Oh, Ramona.
You don't go up to Julian.
Okay,
Right
Julian,
below Julian, 7 miles or so, you turn right there and go into and take the back way. You know, we're just crazy people.
Is that how you still do it?
Yeah, I don't ever go down the freeway anymore.
I see.
You know, it's that backcountry is still untouched.
Yeah.
Out of Palomar and that area, it's still just as nice as it was. You go drive by there may be a house or two more, you know, 5 acres, 100 acres out there. You turn right and, yeah. I must add though that I don't go there that much. We don't go, you know, our kids' lives are here.
Yeah.
And ours aren't. I mean, they've always been here.
Mm-hmm. Now you're a member of the Sacred Heart, is that?
Yeah.
Okay, and how long have you been involved with Sacred Heart?
Well, when we started right with them on April 1st, 1965.
Oh.
Yeah, and she was brought up Catholic her whole life, and so was I.
Mm-hmm.
And St. Augustine High School. However, she went to public high, Central Union High School, because they didn't have Catholic school in El Centro.
Mm-hmm.
But she still talks about that town like it's the best place she ever lived.
Oh, I bet.
And it was a little farm town. So we have great roots.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you certainly do.
Working roots. And we don't go down there much anymore. She doesn't have much family. They've kind of scattered, and a lot of them gone to San Diego.
Yeah.
So you got a great freeway, Highway 80, that goes right through El Centro to San Diego. What
about when you were raising the kids about Shadow Mountain Country Club versus Shadow Mountain Golf Club? You were you a member of the Shadow Mountain?
It was a Shadow Mountain Club, yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because when we first bought our house, our son was in about 5th or 6th grade, and we went over to the club. This guy said, "Come on over. I manage the club." Well, he had a kid in 1st grade with, and he said, "You guys ought to come over here and join." I said,
"How much is it?"
"We don't have that much money."
Yeah.
I mean, to join a country club, he said, I can't remember, it was almost ridiculous. He said it's like $25 a month, and you got this big pool. We didn't have a pool then.
Yeah.
Have you seen that pool up there?
Yeah, that's a great pool.
I said, $25 a month? That's all?
Yeah.
We used to live
For the whole
over
family?
there. Yeah.
Wow.
A month. And you could go up there to dinner. We were in that pool constantly. But like I say, we didn't have a pool then.
Yeah.
And he was, what was his name? He was a short time and a young guy. He was about 30, 35, and he's manager of that club. And his son and my son were buddies at 1st grade.
So they would swim there, and then they would have like a snack bar there.
They had a snack bar.
What did they have at the snack bar?
It was it was its own building in the back, out by the pool, beyond the pool. Not, you know, it was practically the same hole in the ground. And then at night, you know, they had lots of celebs go through there. People came to buy houses. They found out about Shadow Mountain. I still love that place, although we don't, and now it's so big in tennis. I mean, they got like 18 courts, I think.
Did you all play tennis or anything like that? Okay. So
Well,
you're mostly
we played a little bit.
But you mostly were at the pool.
Yeah, oh
What
yeah.
other kind of activities did they have? Like, do they have billiards or do they have
They had some, yes, they had a little house that had,
ping pong?
yeah, ping pong and,
Mm-hmm.
not tennis, but, golf, not golf, and of course, golf. We played there too. It wasn't a great golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, they've redone that. Have you been
That's
to that
separated
place
though.
now?
This is the golf
Yes,
course and the club
it
and the
is.
country. Okay.
2 owners.
I see.
And, so we were on to the swimming pool side.
Mm-hmm.
And had some parties over there with people. You go to some parties, my gosh, you might meet anybody. Of course, we weren't in that.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys would come out here and have a house, and you never know from Eisenhower to who was going to be there.
So these were people that had houses and they would come to the club and they'd mingle around.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah. They had their groups and they
I
got
see.
together all the time. Good food and good bar area, good swimming, and it was quite the place.
Did they ever have any like festival that you remember where they had like a luau or some kind of thing?
Lots of them.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah, they always had a social club. We had a social membership,
Mm-hmm.
and that included, but we didn't go to the club very much
Mm-hmm.
because we didn't know anybody of that ilk. We were there to swim,
Yeah.
and it was a great place to swim.
How did you get over there? Did you walk over there? Did you drive over there? Take your golf cart? Or?
It's about, let me see, it's about 6 blocks over to the
Okay.
club. So yeah, we didn't have a golf cart, no, but we do now. Yeah, you'd get over there. You could just drive your car over there or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, rather than waste time walking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's right on the other side of Shadow Mountain.
And was that, it was open to 12 months a year, right? Even if it was hot or even
It
when
was, but the social end of it closed.
Then it would open up like October again. It was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the club was open.
Okay.
As far as I know, it's open
Yeah.
all year. You
Well,
see
what
people.
what was your block like where you live right now? I've been to your house.
Yeah.
And how has that block changed? Is that filled in by a lot of houses, or was it kind of like that?
Yeah, there's no. There were quite a few empty lots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people, the property owner association was divided into 5 sections.
Mm-hmm.
Our section was the last street on section 5. That's Coil Brush. So people were building within that. They had building requirements,
Mm-hmm.
and people like that. And you could become, if you bought in there, you became a member of the homeowner association.
Oh, you have a homeowners
Yes.
there. Mm-hmm.
It went away a few years after this became a city in '73.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say in about '78, they saw no reason to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
You pay a few dues if you want to be. And they said, well, we're not doing anything. The city is mostly doing what we would do.
Mm-hmm.
But they ran a tight ship. They did. And they had a patrol around who wouldn't patrol. He'd just make sure you didn't park your boats in the street, stuff
Right.
like that.
Was that police, or was that just a separate?
It wasn't
patrol?
police.
Okay.
No, we didn't. I don't think we had any police at all then until we became a city. Yeah, it
Who
was
was
a
the
different time.
Yeah. Who was the mayor? Do you remember who the mayor was back in those days? Or
I can't remember his.
Kathleen?
You knew him like a brother.
oh,
Who was the first mayor? No, that's city manager. Sorry,
oh, okay.
Jim McPherson. We knew all the 5 council.
Mhm.
It was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
If they were in Rotary or with the
Oh.
Lions Club, Jim McPherson was,
Oh.
I don't know if he still lives here. I hear he lives in Bermuda Dunes. But he was 33 years old and a Bank of America manager. And he looked like a baby. He was so young,
Oh.
but he was a great guy. He used
Yeah.
to join our Lions Club. He didn't join our club. We had the Lions Club and got it started and had a blast.
So you had Rotary here?
Yeah, they did have Rotary.
They don't
Cliff
have it now?
Henderson, the founder of the town, was backer of Rotary.
Oh, okay.
But other than that, it was either Rotary or Lions. There was a good Optimist Club and Seroptimus
Yeah,
Club.
Seroptimus
Yes.
is women, right?
Yeah, and they had some powerful ladies who knew where to get stuff done.
Yeah,
It was good because they liked certain things, better schools and
yeah, they were
more
advocates
stop
for it.
signs and they were advocates. They were good. Gloria Kelly was one. Did she die? Have you heard about? I thought
The
she
mom?
had. Yeah, Gloria. Do you know Kelly?
Yeah.
Gloria. They live up in Kauai Hills.
Oh no,
And
no.
He was.
Oh, I know who you mean.
He was a concrete contractor and a very honest guy, Kelly. They belonged to our church for a bunch of years. Gloria and they moved up to Kauai Hills. He bought a nice big place, made a lot of money and built a nice house up there. But I heard she has died in the last year or so.
I don't know.
Gloria, we lost track of her.
Yeah. Well, you keep track of people through the church, keeps you know,
Yes.
up with what's going on.
It
Yeah.
does. It does.
It's a very popular church.
It is. It's been a good church. We've had some great pastors there.
Yeah.
Edwards was the first one, and we knew everyone, every pastor
Yeah.
at that church. I can't remember. They built that church. They were about 64 or 63,
Mm-hmm.
and it opened onto that date field there, that date grove. It's so funny.
It's
We
not
parked
there
in the
now,
date
right?
grove. No, it's all houses. And
Were you sad when some of the date groves go down and see the houses go, or it's just
yeah, but that's progress. They moved them down. If you go drive around the Salton Sea up in all that area, it's a lot of dates. So they weren't hurting for dates.
Yeah.
And a lot of date growers down there.
Yeah.
Big guys. Yep.
So so you have been involved with the Historic Society here for a long time.
Danny Kelly got me going. Remember Danny
Ah.
Kelly's name?
Oh yeah, is that the mayor's
He was a
father? Or?
no, he was
Oh.
no, different
Okay.
family. And he was a realtor.
Yeah.
And he used it. He was, I don't know if he was president or an officer here, but he certainly was. He was an ex-officer. And he told me, he drove by one day and said, Hal, get in the car, I want to show you something. And we went down and moved stuff around here,
Right, where was it was at this right where
Yeah.
we're sitting right now?
Yeah.
Or?
We moved stuff around and
Like
I don't know.
boxes and of
Yeah, he
Mhm.
needed help.
Okay.
And I was young and stupid and, I had a truck, and I've always had a truck for my business. So.
That helps.
So anyway, we moved and did a lot of stuff, and pretty soon, and that was probably, in Keaty's one day, we went into Keaty. Oh, he said, Hal, come down to Keaty's.
Yeah.
We have a table down there,
Yeah.
and we're sitting around, and we're gonna do it Saturday, and we're gonna get new members. So I went down, and he signed
For
me
the
up.
Historic Society.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back at Keaty's, right there, and we signed up and became members, and I think it was about 97 or 98. Well, I didn't get involved then, but as soon as I sold my company.
You didn't have time really at that. Yeah.
No, so we got involved when I sold my company in 2000.
And how do they gather all this stuff? People just when they cleaning out houses. How did all this come to be? All the archives and the photographs. Since you remember when it was started, people just started dropping things off, or how did that?
They do.
Yeah.
They bring you boxes of stuff. And when Cliff left
Yeah.
and died, I guess, and sold his house, his daughter came out from Arkansas.
Mm.
I don't know if she's living or dead. And she called me and said, Hal, we're up at the house, we're cleaning it out. Is there anything you want to save up here? Well, I was president. And I said, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff we want.
Where was his house?
His house
Uh-huh.
was right out the entrance to the Shadow Mountain Club.
Oh, okay.
on
So
that.
he was part of that.
Yeah,
He built that,
he built
and
that
he
house.
lived in there
Yes,
as well. Okay.
yes, outside the club. It was that first street outside.
Okay. So you went there.
And she walked me through the house, the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was a stepdaughter, because Marion had been married before, I think.
He didn't have any of his own. He didn't have his own.
I don't think, no, they didn't have any kids. And he said, the daughter said, hey, we're selling everything. I mean, I gotta get, she said, I grow pigs in Arkansas. I gotta go home. That's just like a farmer woman. And I said, yeah, okay. What are we gonna do with everything?
Yeah.
They wanted to get everything out of there and get it ready for sale.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't a wonderful house. It was probably upscale to some degree.
Right.
100 feet from the grounds of the Shadow Mountain Club. And I just happened to know her and come on over.
So you went over there, there was a lot of
around
stuff,
there,
right?
and she gave me some stuff. We walked through the house and I said, that is a neat picture. She said, you want it? I said, yeah, I want it, but I don't have enough. She said, you know, you've done enough for Palm Desert. Cliff had died, Marion had just died, I think. And
So they both died around the same time?
yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all those real details now. But it was still small town.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what gets me about this place is that we ought to be patting that guy in the back. Yeah, he was a stodgy little guy who always was thinking about this town and how we can make it better, Cliff. And I don't think he got, for a few years, he got patted on the back.
So you don't think you think he was underappreciated?
Oh yeah, I think so. Because I stand out in my front yard and I can name every mountain and the whole range and been there, done that, and it's, wow, where else would you want to live? I mean, the sun goes down and you stand there and look at the sunset and mountains that are 10 and 12,000 feet high. And I guess he didn't like Palm Springs. He wanted his own place. You know, he
wanted it down
Cliff
here.
was like that, I think. You know, I never met him, so I want to clear that up.
Okay.
Never met Cliff.
Did you meet his brother?
But you knew, I don't know. They were always around. We went in and out of the club down, or his restaurant. His what do they call it? And he had a house right there, and
Clubhouse?
no, the one that his brother built.
Oh, right there.
And
That's a gorgeous place. That's underappreciated, I feel, that building.
yeah.
That was where the steakhouse was, right?
Yeah, and there's still.
Is it still there, the steakhouse?
Yeah, there's some, you know, Don tells me about it.
Yeah.
And he went up there, he takes the bull by the horns. I don't do that anymore. He goes up and knocks on the door and says, hey, I walk these streets with people who come here he does tours, walking tours. I don't know if he still does them, but Don is a different character. You know him well? Well, he lives about 2 blocks, and he walks by mine or rides his silly little bike by, and Nancy says, how come you spend so much time with him? Because he knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He's into the stuff that, you know, I put behind me. I still love this place. And
he reminds you of some things that you've forgotten about. Maybe.
Yeah, and he knew another step farther. He knew other people that he has time for them. He doesn't have much family anymore. And, you know, they get divorced. We knew his wife real well, and took her to San Diego where she could live with their family. So they split up. But Don has been a good.
I'm glad you reminded me.
A good follower of this place. You know, I really wonder why I didn't know Cliff and Randall more, but I didn't.
Oh, Randall.
But they were, you just knew a lot about them by knowing their friends.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they didn't get along that well, right?
No, they didn't. And I think his brother Randall was disgruntled about how the thing split up.
Yeah.
But they weren't going to live forever. Now everybody's happy, I think. You know,
that's right. You don't know.
No relatives living here that I know of.
Yeah.
And you know, what was it like? Yeah. You really can't explain it. It was a unique area to be and to live, and I knew I wanted to stay.
Where'd you go grocery shopping?
Well, 65, they opened the Market Basket.
Okay.
But they had that old market across the street. Whose market was that? Do you remember that name?
Mm-mm.
Anyway.
On 111?
Yeah, it was on 111, kind of where the hardware store is there now.
Mm-hmm.
It's that big building, they used to sell appliances in there. And they opened that probably in 60 something before we got here. And then in 65, they built, I think we went to the grand opening, they had Santa Claus arrive in a helicopter.
Come on.
Yeah. And he got, you know, we thought, boy, this is a great place, the kids and we had a big store, a real grocery store. So it was kind of small town. People used to go by, Angie used to shop in Indio. You know, she knew more places and still does to this day. So
Yeah, because you went from here, if you needed something more than what this had to offer, you went to India, or did you go to Palm Springs too, or mostly India?
Indio.
I see.
Yeah. If you wanted, you like Indio, well, Indio had a J.C. Penney early on, but we went in on a special birthday for my son, and they had opened J.C. Penney in Palm Springs. And we went in and bought him a bicycle on his birthday. And so they had more shopping, kind of, if you were looking for specialty stuff like that. So.
Do you remember when this Westfield Mall was, what was that like? Did it mean anything to you?
Couldn't believe it. The
Really?
first place we lived was on Monterey, right there across, and they tore the house down and started that whole mall across the street on Monterey. That was our first 4464 Monterey. And yeah.
So how long was it before they started talking about it and then it opened? Was it like a couple of years?
Probably a couple of years. Oh yeah, by the time you get the, I forget the builder, that was, I think he lived in San Diego, and we got to know him. My son called him the developer.
The developer.
The developer. He called him and said he was going to architecture school at Cal Poly, and they told him to interview an important person. So he got called up, whose name I can't remember. I'll get it for you. My wife would remember. Ernie. Ernie was the general contractor. He granted my son an interview. Here's a $100 million company, and Vin was for school in architecture school.
Wait a minute, okay, so Ernie, we'll figure out his last name because he granted an interview with
my son.
By your son.
Yeah.
Now, what was it going to be an interview about? Just him?
About the developing of the store and being a developer. I mean, he had stores.
Does he still have this?
No, I think they sold it to the Westfield people.
I mean, does your son still have this interview? Do you know if you have a copy of this interview?
Well, maybe he does. Vin is his name. Vincent Joseph Rover. I'll ask him. That would be very interesting.
Yeah.
But because, you know, here's a guy who doesn't have 5 minutes in his whole schedule, but he was a real nice person.
Yeah.
He came out dressed in suits and stuff from LA, and yeah.
So what did you...
Ernie.
It starts with an H. I don't know why I'm thinking. Han or...
Ernie Han.
No,
That's
no.
it. Yeah, it was
Is that
on.
it?
It was on. Yeah, Ernie Han. There you go. Thank you.
So he didn't really live, he would come here, see his development, and he'd go back, okay.
Yes. And I don't know where my son had an interview with him. It might have been LA.
Yeah, see, that would be interesting to see something like that.
Oh yeah, I bet my son kept everything.
Maybe I should contact your son too, because
Maybe.
he might, you know, I want people to be more interested in this place too, you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is from his dad, but sometimes you just forget.
He loved it and he wanted to stay here. But he went into architecture, which he knew Bob Rishardi. We knew the Rishardi family. You know that. Bob was a leading architect. Not huge, but he went to Cal Berkeley, and we ran across them first in 65. Bob came in 62 and opened an architecture business, Rishardi. and he's since passed away, and his family moved. We still keep in touch with the family, our Richardi.
I bet you know Lee, okay, Martha and Lee, anyway. I'll think.
Architects?
No, he was like a big wig over here at the Westfield Mall, so I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
So he mentioned that he knows you.
But
know.
the town at that time was growing, and and you didn't get a chance to know all these people unless you were. And my son,
it started not being a small town anymore like that.
Yeah, we had a lot of. You might meet anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, we were on a church job over here or something. There's Eisenhower. He's in the market with his wife, and they're shopping for groceries.
What Market Basket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might see that. It was crazy to see anybody like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was a very fun time for the kids too. They loved it, and we hope they loved it.
You know they did.
Yeah.
So when did you retire?
Got a phone call from a company in Florida, and they said, "Hey, we want to come and talk to you about your company. We're interested in buying." They were spreading out in California. I think I was the 6th company they bought in California, and I knew some of these guys. They were.
You had heard about these people?
Well, no, I met some of them because we all went to the California State Contractors Association meetings in LA, and you might meet anybody there too. And so they said, the guy had been an installation guy, and he said, "Well, who are you working for?" And he said, "Oh, I forget the name of the company." He said, "We'd like to come and talk to you about buying your company." I said, "Okay."
Were you surprised?
So come on out. And we went.
What happened?
We called our accountant and said, "Hey, Dennis Godecki, you know Dennis?"
Yeah.
What a guy. He's still our accountant after almost 60 years. Dennis Godecki. Godecke.
I've seen his name.
Godecki,
yeah.
Dennis. What a wonderful guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Aww.
And Angie's always, and I said, "Can I come along?" Because they sat down and talked about our company. Angie knew more about the money than I did. So we'd go in and talk to Dennis, and we did it the other day. It was funny. Hadn't seen Dennis, and we saw him at the ice cream place the other night. But
which ice cream place you go to? The one near the Whole Foods?
No, it's a hamburger place. The new one that's right on.
Okay.
Habit.
Oh, the Habit.
Dennis is in there. "What are you doing in here, Dennis?" He says, "We're here for ice cream." So we've known Dennis for 50 years. Good, honest man.
So when he this man mentioned that you want to sell your company, so you said, yeah.
Yeah, let us contact our.
You had to get it all organized, right?
And Dennis took it from there, and he called us and he said, "How much I want to give you?"
He made the arrangement. He made the deal too. Oh, really?
He got the offer.
Okay.
We said, because we were interested. I said, "No, I can go another 5 or 10 years." Then I heard how much it was, and I said, "Oh, maybe we better consider it." It was 3 times more than you thought you could get. So,
yeah, you don't really know when you sell in a company. I sold my company. You don't know.
Yeah. No, what's it worth? Insulation was just becoming big time. Really.
Yeah.
I mean, every house had to be insulated to standards. California was probably one of the first states that came up with insulation standards, which was a very smart thing. And everybody cried, "Oh, that's too much. We don't need 10 inches of insulation in our attic. We lived here for 40 years with nothing." Oh yeah, that's going to change. So
you must have been busy.
Yeah, we were.
Was it too busy, or was it just busy enough? Sounds like it might have been over busy.
Well, it was hard to get enough labor.
Yeah.
First of all, insulation is not a real pretty thing to do.
Yeah,
in the summertime, it can be nasty.
Yeah.
But you can find guys and treat them right. And I'd love Mexicans. I tell you what, I hired more Mexicans than But I still had a small company. I bet I didn't have any more than 10 or 12 employees.
Perfect size.
Yeah, I was there every day. I would help them.
Where was the, oh, on Joni Drive?
On Joni, yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, it's got a big metal building across the whole back, 150 feet long, and then we kind of fell into it. We did the right thing and try to treat people right.
That's a really neat building. Yeah.
So,
Were you shocked when you stopped? All of a sudden, your business is sold.
Well, I thought, Dennis said, well, maybe he doesn't want to sell. He talked to Angie and says, I thought, I don't really want to sell. But then we come up with
but then again,
4 times more than you thought it was even worth. They were looking down the road, the future, and they had a company built with. And they said, here's the deal, we'll rent your company from you. We'll not only buy it, we'll rent this building from you for 5 years.
Gee.
And I said, okay. They wanted the whole building because they were starting out here in the West.
So they want, okay.
And they were starting drywall.
But they were buying the building? No, they weren't buying the building.
No, they're just rental.
Okay,
They don't want to buy.
Right.
They want to rent from you. And that's even better.
Yeah.
So we've had that building. That's been 23 years. It keeps me in touch with the community too, with people. It does. It's really great. Kenny Williamson, do you know him?
No.
He owned the property next door. He started this gas station right here, Standard Oil.
Yeah.
He was a rep for them, and a crazy drinker. And we met him, of course, and he used to have Padre tickets. He loved San Diego. He'd take guys to the Padre games. Anyway, he bought the property right next to ours, and now he's sold the company. I think he's
storage. Oh no, there's a storage company over there too in the corner.
Yeah, but this is a mechanical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he does a lot of mechanical, but he has just recently sold it in the last year, and I think he's keeping the property. Palms to Pines.
Oh yeah, he's a really interesting guy. That guy.
He is. He is a character.
He is.
He is.
He had a towing business too in there.
Yes, his son was in the tow business down the street, right on.
He's a real good-looking guy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he's.
If I can say I hope that's politically correct.
No, he is. He does look good. He's 80.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they're all.
But yeah, he was still going over there, but he probably didn't go over there anymore. Does he still? His son bought it or something. I don't know.
No, he got his son into the towing business.
Yeah.
And right down the street, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
You go do your job. You can tow them in here to fix them, and we know where to fix. It was just Kenny all over, and he was serious because he got another wife. Carol is still here in that valley, but his first wife, they got divorced.
So he's married now.
He married another, and they bought a house in Hawaii. And
they're mostly there.
He's a smart guy. He knows the gas business, and automobile business, and we get together and laugh a lot. We talk about people. Oh my gosh, is he still alive?
But he always had the place where if something's wrong with your car, you take it there and he's not going to BS you. It's whatever.
And don't cry about the price. If you cry about the price, it's going to be a little bit higher next time. He is. We've talked about him. He's quite the guy. Very nice friend over the years.
Yeah.
A little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Drank himself to death almost, and then been an AA now 30 years. Well,
that's what people do in the desert sometimes.
That's right. No, we did. A lot of us did.
I know it.
So I had an awakening one day and said, I was listening to Dr. Tony Grant on the radio.
I remember her.
Remember her?
A woman, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I used to listen to her almost every day. And I was out on the freeway driving home from someplace, and Tony Grant's on the air. Oh, talking, because I always lived. And she talked to this guy, and he said, she said, do you drink? And he said, yeah. How much? Well, I drink She said, stop drinking. And I thought, what a concept. Stop drinking.
You never thought of that?
I did, in '88. in 1980 when I heard that, and I said, okay, it's like October. I think I can make it till the first of the year, and the first of the year I'm gonna stop
Because it's
because of Tony Grant.
Oh, how interesting! She was amazing.
She was great. She had nice voice and a lot of good sense, and she was on radio like from 3 to 6 every night or so.
Everyone keyed into her.
I think.
Is she still alive? Do you think?
Oh, geez, I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up.
Tony Grant, KFI, I think it was.
Oh.
640, and we used to get 640 here.
Oh,
you know, through the
AM,
mountains.
right? Yeah.
But it was. We probably had local radio.
Is that what you didn't get too much reception out here, radio or TV, right?
Not for a while until Able Cable came out and brought the cable company with them. That was Bircham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was a good guy too.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about what do you think about Palm Desert today? I mean, do you think that it developed well, or do you think they could have done better, or you don't want to say?
Well, you know, they could always do better, you think, but you know, they hired some people who loved this place, First Council. We knew every person personally, you know.
Yeah.
And I'd go to council meetings and just sit there with our secretary from here. And,
who was the secretary?
Oh, Ann.
Okay.
Ann.
That's all right.
And she died.
She died
10, 12 years ago.
All right.
And she and I hit it off right. They brought me over here. They said, hey, we needed a secretary. So they said, well, we got this lady who wants to, has worked for historical before. And, oh, well, why don't you tell her I'll meet her over at the place? And I talked to her, and right away I liked her. And I were within 3 months of age, I think. And she just loved this place and babied it. And maybe she didn't do the best job, but nothing happened here that she didn't know about. And so anyway, it was kind of like everything was homey in those days, and got to know people.
Are you still involved with the city council now, or not really?
No, I never really was.
Just new people.
You know, with Danny Callahan, you know, you could keep a touch on things because he knew all the politics in town. He lived in Indian Wells, and they incorporated a little bit before us. But
now you used to do. Okay, you've done interviews. Tell me about that part. I don't know that much about it. You did interviews yourself.
I was trying to get into it, and because I thought it was important for the Historical Society. My first interview was with Dick Oliphant.
Okay.
I called him, and I knew Dick from the Lions Club.
Okay.
Because the Lions Club started, I think their Lions Club in Palm Desert Country Club, where he lived, on the corner of a funny little house with 5 little kids. And he would get stuff started. He knew enough people. He came here to do the country club, that Palm Desert Country Club was called. What was it called originally? But Dick was sent here by his company to build that place. Do you know Dick? He's a sweet guy, very nice.
He lives in Indian Wells now, I think.
Yes. Oh, he's lived in that house for 30 years. Same one. On Shoshone.
Oh, in Shoshone
Yeah,
Hills? I live on Indian Wells Lane, so it's right there. Yeah, I didn't know where he lived exactly.
Anyway, he was the first interview, and it took, I wanted to limit it to like 2 hours or something.
Yeah.
And in 2 hours, we hadn't gotten anywhere. And I said, Dick, can you meet again? Life? And he said, oh yeah, when do you want to do it? So we would sit there, and we had Eric Romer, not Eric, but Romer, who's in the historical now.
Brett?
And he would run the equipment.
Okay.
And he was there for our long interviews. But that was the first one in the long, I only probably did 10.
Oh, you did 10?
And I think they have.
Of Oliphant? Or no, wait a minute.
No, we did 10 of various people.
Okay.
And
you know what?
I loved it. I like to know those details of what little stuff. What brought you, or why did you come here? Why would you ever live here? You know. So I wasn't a good interview, but I did The historical commission of Riverside County had a
commission?
Yeah, they had a time when they would train you how to do interviews. And, you know, not a big deal, probably
Right.
2 or 3 times you met with this lady. I don't remember the whole details. And I said, we really got to do that. So I started the original, the interviews.
What year was that? Do you remember?
Probably 05 maybe, 05 or something like that.
And do you know,
2005.
who knows about, I mean, where are these?
They're in something here.
Would
Yeah,
you like me
and-
to find them? I mean, would it be interesting for me to find them and show them to you again, or you don't?
Wouldn't be that interesting, because I probably didn't know what I was doing. Now, Dick Oliphant was a developer. He
Right,
did the whole company, that city out there.
I know it.
Palm City, that's what the name came to me, Palm City.
Wait a minute, what's Palm City?
Well, that's Palm Desert Country Club.
Oh,
They
okay.
originally named it Palm City. And Dick was the main man out here.
But even
Yeah,
even though
if
he
you
lived
ever
in
find-
Indian Wells, he was still,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, they lived in Palm City. They bought one of their own houses out
Oh,
there,
okay.
right on California Drive. And
Okay,
So he was the heart of the place, and he started the fire company out there, and they bought a
Okay.
fire engine, and I think he was their first fire captain. You know, they got volunteers
yeah.
to answer like they did here. We
Yeah.
had 4 or 5 girls on the first fire truck here.
Well, now we're getting into another area.
That wasn't
now.
my deal. That wasn't my deal there,
I
because
see.
had to happen back in the 40s.
That was Brett Steele, he was involved in the
Rover
fight.
was a volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else? Who else was involved in that? Anybody that's still alive or anything?
Probably not. There's
Okay.
probably a couple alive that Brett would know about.
All right,
I think there's 1 or 2, because they were youngsters. We were all youngsters, but they were teeners, and some girls. And we had pictures
Oh.
of girls with the fire hats on. Yeah, it was. It brought community together, and you didn't have anybody else.
So there was no official. There was no.
No, there
official
was
fire
no. There was
department?
no. This was the first place
I see.
that I know of.
Well, you've got 1, 2, 3, basically 3 rooms here. Okay, was it just 1 room at the time? Yeah, it
The
wasn't.
family that came here to be the first firefighter lived in. That was the house.
Okay,
From this wall that way.
over there. Okay.
3 bedrooms across the back, 1 kitchen, 1 living room.
Did
This
you know
was
that?
the garage.
Oh,
This was the garage. Double garage for
yeah.
fire trucks. And they lived here. That's the only thing I know. And I can't remember their names, but they're listed too.
Okay.
Nice family. And Brett, he spent a lot of time around here. Didn't get the credit he should have.
Mm-hmm.
But that happens. And I see him quite often now.
Okay.
So he did a lot building this place and giving it depth and,
When you say this place, you mean the Historic Society or just in Palm Desert?
well, the Historical Society.
Okay.
Yeah, because he got here about 62. He was one of the first teachers of the COD.
Yeah.
I think he was on the first faculty, and he was in the basement of the library. So he was in the records department, I guess.
Well, did your kids, if you don't mind me calling them that, did they go to COD at all? They went right away to 4-year college, did they?
They did. They went to
Yeah.
4-year college.
Mhm.
However,
Mhm.
real quick story, my son went to Loyola, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, and he talked to baseball coach, and the coach said, "You're an architecture student?" And he said, "Yeah." He says, "You can't play baseball here." He says, "Basically, watch me." He didn't want any architecture study all night. I mean, that school is known for all-nighters, they call it.
Oh, so he thought he couldn't dedicate enough
Yeah,
time
no,
to
you
it?
can't travel, and you're San Luis
Oh.
Obispo, and we play at UCLA and San Diego. But my son played that year, and then he left, and he came to COD for 1 season to play baseball. Then he went to Loyola
Now,
and
what's
played
his
baseball.
name? What's his name?
Vincent,
Okay, Vincent, okay, right.
we know him as Vin, V-I-N.
Vincent,
Too much information.
It's all right.
I know it's hard.
It's wonderful.
Oh, he would be, I don't know if he would even do an interview, but he's got a brain that captures things.
I try to make it fun.
He loved it and he wanted to live here, but his wife didn't. She said, I just can't grow up here.
Either you like it or you don't.
That's
here,
right.
Don't you think?
They have 9 kids. So she said, you know, she told him before they were married, I want a lot of kids.
Yeah.
She had them all at home.
Really?
That's right. She had a midwife. Get a midwife. Yeah. She's amazing. She's pretty as she can be.
Oh, how
and little as she can be. You know, she's built like you.
They have 9.
9 kids.
She wasn't joking.
No, she wanted family. She didn't have one.
That's so interesting.
Yep, she grew up without, I think her mom and dad met. I don't even know who her mom was. Anyway, those things happen, and they turn out good sometimes.
Right.
So anyway, they live in East Bay area.
They live in, you told me. Oh, it's not
I can never remember the name of the place because there's a thousand, you know, 1,000 little places out there.
What do you think about the weather conditions here? Have they changed or it's pretty much the same? I mean,
we haven't had the cold weather that we used to have. I don't know
okay.
why that is, or maybe I don't know anything about it, but we,
it's not as cold as it used to be, huh? Is it as windy as it used to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hot as it used to be?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, it hasn't really changed that way. It's just a good place to live. If you know, people can gripe about anything, but especially the weather. But the people who come out here and find their way here in the wintertime from all over the world.
Yeah. Do you have, from your amazing life, do you have some words of wisdom that you would like to mention, that something that you really seen that's...
Okay, here's my one-liner.
Okay, go ahead.
Marry up. Marry somebody better than yourself.
Gotcha.
Don't pick the prettiest girl, don't pick the smartest.
What does up mean? Yeah, what does up mean? It means
marry somebody better than yourself who can remember. She's got a brain. Her whole family, she had 3 sisters and a brother. And when I first married her, I met this guy in Japan who was my classmate. They said, where are you? I said, I'm in Japan. He said, oh, I'm coming to Japan. So we got together and talked. He said, do you have a girlfriend? I said, no. He said, I know my girlfriend knows girls in San Diego.
Is this how it happened?
And so we were in San Diego and he took me to meet Angie McNeese.
Where'd you meet? Did you meet at like a restaurant or a park or something? Or
We went double dating the first time with him and Mike Riley and his wife. It wasn't his wife at the time. He didn't marry her. But he died pretty early, I bet 20, 30 years ago. So we lost track of him, but he introduced Angie and me and it's almost 60 years.
I think both of you have good sense of humor. Is that,
yeah, that's certainly part of it.
Mm-hmm. Marry up meaning.
But she's a hard worker and, she knows what it takes to
make it.
And she was a good part of our business too. She just took over the money part. I don't like the money. You know, you got to deal with these guys on a one-to-one basis. You're lucky you get 5 or 10 good men. And she did payroll for years. And right in that office there, we built that office for her downstairs. Beautiful. Anyway.
What about now? She helps you at the church? Tell me what your function is?
Well, we kind of have our own function at the church, because I've kind of gone the men's way and she's but it all runs together.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're probably some of the oldest people at that, been there the longest, since 65.
Who's the pastor there now?
He's a new guy he was a Episcopalian priest, and he came from Temecula area, that city just north of Temecula.
Mm-hmm.
And he converted and he's married guy, and he's a scruffy looking guy with all his hair, and he was married in an Episcopalian for years, but he's been Catholic 20 years.
Mhm.
Um,
You know Father Charlie Ara?
Charlie. who?
Charlie Ara? Okay. He was
Is he an Episcopalian here? Or?
he was at that Catholic church you're mentioning. He's quite a character.
At
so-
Sacred Heart?
At Sacred Heart. I
Was he a
believe.
priest?
Yes, but he got married or something.
Oh, well we knew the priest who got married. He
There's two of them that got.
yeah. Well, the one who had been in the service, he'd been in the Air Force. We loved him. He could give sermons.
Oh yeah, the sermons that
always,
I love.
he was good, and you know he was always funny, and he was an Air Force retiree. I think he was a lifer, and he ended up leaving the priesthood, which they didn't really do then. But he renounced his vows, and you know he did it legally, and he married this lady who was wealthy as could be. I forget her name. If you want names or anything, Angie will remember.
Okay.
And that was kind of before that happened, you know. And now this guy was an Episcopalian for years, and
Opened up the whole. Yeah, it's opened up now too.
and they're really good, and they, you know, they helped us and we helped them maybe.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's been an unbelievable parish. You
Yes,
know,
it
that's kind
has.
of the center of this valley.
Oh, interesting.
You know, it's probably I don't know, you get an argument, but I think it's the best parish in this valley.
That's what it is.
It's
known
taken,
like
they've put really good people here. We've got probably 5 retired priests who say mass down there. They come, they talk.
Yeah.
I met 2 priests. I picked up books up for the College of the Desert, and I went into their house, and you say, "Oh, we're former priests." "Oh, you are? Did you ever do?" "No, we didn't do anything in this valley." They didn't carry on. They were just living together. I don't know if we got married then, but it's about 20, 30 years ago. I went to their house in Palm Springs, and they were very happy to live together. You know, they don't always get a lot of money when they retire.
Yeah.
Get enough to
Pension.
probably pay the rent. So anyway, they're all over the place. But Father Lincoln did a great
Father Lincoln.
job. Abraham Lincoln. He did a great job, and he got a lot of credit, but when he left, he married his secretary, Sandra. She was as good as he is. She knew his, and they do their own thing now. I mean, they go to the hospital. She takes names, and he finds out what their problem is.
I see. So they work together
Yeah,
within
they
that,
do.
I see.
They do to this day. You know,
I
he
see.
never gave up his vows.
Oh, is that right?
Well, they have to renounce their vows, but to retire and to get married.
Oh, I see.
But that's legal. He's all legal. The church was. I mean, a lot of people. He can't do that. Well, that's what they do. And he's into the. What do they call it? They work for the nonprofit in India where they.
Galilee?
Yeah, Galilee Center. He
Yeah.
runs the Galilee Center.
Oh.
He's a smart guy.
How long has he been gone from Sacred Heart? 10 years?
Yeah, maybe 10 years. Great guy.
Yeah, it's a great place. It is. I lived here 12 years and I never I never regretted it. It's just, it's very specific.
Mm-hmm.
If it fits you, it's like a glove. Right.
When he came to our house one night, we invited him over
Mhm.
because here comes Father, and we wanted to get this guy who sings now. He's a really good singer. He's a teacher, 3rd grade teacher at Washington School,
Mhm.
and we knew them real well. So we said, well, okay, we got to get you to meet Lincoln. So because we want you to lead our music department.
Yeah.
He's a young guy, about 30, got a great voice. He sang at Sunday Mass, one of them. And so we got him together, and Lincoln introduced him. He said, "What do you do?" And he said, "Oh, I'm a music teacher. But I'm a teacher who sings, you know." So they ended up getting together, and he's still there.
Really?
I can't remember the guy's name now. Who's
The music teacher.
Music. He's very good. He married a Thompson girl. We knew the Thompsons. There's 3 of them. Don Thompson just died too, I hear. He was a baseball coach and taught at COD, and
Mhm.
had 3 daughters. And
That's
anyway,
not, is that Tommy Thompson, or that's another Thompson?
well, Tommy was the 3rd daughter. They
Oh, that's
called
a
her
woman.
Tommy, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes. Don was a baseball coach, came here to COD in about 62. And, you know, got a job, and okay, he said, okay, Wars Palm Desert, you can be their coach, you can, he didn't know where he was going.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a small town.
You don't know what you're doing, but you figure it out,
That's
right?
right. Yeah, you got family and you hang together, and they finally built a Sambo's on the corner, and we could go out to breakfast.
Where was the Sambo's? That's so funny.
It was right there
That's so
on
funny.
what corner was it?
Monterey and 111?
Yeah, Monterey at 111, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
There's a gas station there, a Shell,
Mhm.
which is something else now. It's a bank and as you come back there,
Mhm.
what's that restaurant there?
Oh, there's a restaurant there right now?
Yeah,
Oh,
we never go there. Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants. So it was a interesting time. It was wonderful growing up here. I got here and I immediately loved it because, you know, I had a car, an expense account, didn't make a lot of money, but you know, go rent a house and see how you work out with this big company. It was perfect, like having a bank in your backyard. Not that they overpaid you or anything, but we need you in LA for a meeting next, or we want you to go to school in Chicago. And I said, huh? Okay.
Amazing.
Turned out very well, place to learn about the building business. U.S. Gypsum,
Absolutely.
Chicago, Illinois.
So you married up, and
Yeah, marry
your
up.
wife
That's
married up too. How'd that went?
My dad was a dentist, and they
Yeah.
thought, or her sister, Angie's sister said, his dad's a dentist, he can't be all bad, you know? And he'd been in San Diego for many years.
That's very sweet.
And he loved us. He was a real pro. If you didn't have money, too bad. Sit down, I'll take care of you.
Really?
He opened his practice in 30. 30 was the start of the Depression, or 29 was. Didn't matter to my dad. He took chickens, you know, and
They took some
and
chickens from
he
payment
took the
sometimes?
yeah, and he rented a cornfield so we could grow corn. And I remember that, yeah, real, you know, people had to do that.
Yeah.
Your parents, you know,
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Who knows what the real story is?
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, you know, just because they don't go to church today, I think, let's not start there. We'll pick that up along the way and find out what
When
other
you're ready.
hang-ups you got and work on them.
When you're ready.
Yeah. A lady came into me in Mass, or no, a lady came to Mass. I was an usher at Sacred Heart, finishing story. And I said, this guy said, this usher, Phil Lane, who owned a decorating store down here, Lane Interiors, and he used to, he couldn't concentrate during Mass, so he'd pick up the collection, all this stuff, and he'd say, who's that lady? He says, or was it a gentleman? Yeah, it was a lady, and he said, I'm gonna ask her. So one day after Mass, she left early. You know, homily's over. She leaves, and he says, you don't do that at Catholic Church. So he says, excuse me, ma'am, how come you come and you leave? She says, oh, I'm not Catholic, I just come to hear Father Lincoln. That's enough of this story. No, not Catholic. She said, I go to church. You know.
That's adorable.
Yeah.
That place does have a very long history.
Yeah.
People go right to that church. What a place.
And I just think it's got 800 kids there, 700 kids in that school. There's no room for anybody. There's 2 classes and everything from kindergarten through 8th grade. And yeah, they've done a good job with that. I mean, those schools have their problems too, but they've got a guy there now who didn't want to be principal. he went to talk, after the other guy quit, and Lincoln said, we want you to be principal. He says, I don't want to be principal. He was vice principal. Now he's been principal for about 15 years. So,
He wasn't ready to be principal, is that why he didn't?
well, I don't know. He lives in Yucca Valley, a single guy. He still does. He drives down here every day from Yucca Valley. He says, I'd love to get Alan Bruzio is his name. Yeah, I just like to, nobody knows me in Yucca Valley. If I come down here and walk
That's
to the,
true.
and he has lunch every day with the kindergartners.
What's his name, Alan?
Alan Bruzio.
Bruzio?
I think that'll probably do it. I'm not sure. I
So
think it's
he's now the principal.
He's principal of the school. The other guy moved on to Aquinas High School.
Mhm.
Anyway, there's funny stories like that.
I know, little things.
But anyway, that lady said, I don't go to church. I'm not Catholic. I come to hear Father Lincoln.
I've heard he
Okay, that's good enough.
He's available whether you're Catholic
There
or
was a
not.
guy, another funny story is that my friend who was an usher, he said this guy puts, a $50 bill or something in the collection every day. And sometimes people they leave early or they do what they do. So he said, I'm gonna follow him home sometime, see where he lives.
He lived in Vintage?
No, he lived in the Del Safari Country Club. It's now called something else out there in Country Club. And he found out this guy, so he asked the guy at the gate, and it was the guy that owned the club, the Del Safari Country Club. And he was Chicago, of course. They're all Chicago people. They were in Del Safari.
Okay, yeah.
I can't remember the first name of it, but it became Del Safari. And he built big houses in there and little and everything and made a big, so.
That's great.
He says, I don't know what he threw in the collection, but it got his attention, so he said, I'm gonna follow him home. And I guess when he went to the gate, because he waved through,
He
they
says,
stopped him and they say, who was that guy? And, oh, that's
That's
I
funny.
can't remember his name.
Great.
You never knew who you'd meet in the
You're
street.
there every Sunday, right? Are you?
Yeah.
What are the hours you're there? You're ushering.
The new guy wanted a greeter committee, so he said, who's been here the longest? And he said, well, Hal Rover's been here for so they gave me the committee, this new pastor did. And so there's a mass at 6:45.
Okay. Are you there then?
I'm there at 7.
Okay.
And I go home at 12 or so. So there's 6:45, 8, 9:30,
Okay.
11. And then they get into Spanish and
Oh, they do.
some Spanish masses. And
Do they have
get
lunch
into
there? Do
some,
they serve lunch sometimes there?
pardon?
Do they serve lunch there sometimes? No.
No, they have a cafeteria for the kids. And they can serve, before a Bible study, he'll have cafeteria open for people who are gonna. So, yeah, it's, have you ever been around that campus?
I have never really gone the extent of the campus.
It's
but I've been in
crazy,
the
it's
church.
just
I'm going
so
to though.
well
Thank you
done.
for telling me.
You know, they had like 20 duplexes they built on the back for people who didn't have enough money. They said, well, we'll have some of the parishioners live back here. Well, there wasn't too long, they were there, the houses, they built duplexes, about 20 of them. And they got rid of those people. And they wanted to build a school. They took that whole, and do you know what that field is named
I'm
on the back?
gonna go. I can see it from the from the street, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do further investigation.
Yeah, walk around. If you want to come down, I hook you up with somebody who'll give you a tour.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
Alan
great.
would do that, the principal.
Okay.
He does that with students who walk and said, hey, I'd like to find out what your school, my kids are about ready. And he gives tours of the school.
Oh, that's precious.
And he knows everything there. Who's better to talk about it?
Okay.
But anyway,
Hal,
our hour must be up,
I think it is.
or 2 or whatever.
I've enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.